Hey everybody, my name is Brennan Taylor and welcome to Freaky Friday. On this channel we're going to be talking about the weird, the absurd, the paranormal, all things freaky on Friday. So if that interests you, make sure you come back every Friday for a new video. Today we're going to be talking about the unsolved murder of 6-year-old beauty pageant queen JonBenét Ramsey. And if you know nothing about JonBenét Ramsey, that's fine. I'm going to fill you in right now. JonBenét Ramsey was 6 years old when she was viciously murdered, and to this day, 20 years later, no one knows who exactly killed her. Was it her mom? Was it her dad? Was it her brother? Or was it a random sex offender that lived close by to her home? I'll let you judge at the end of this video. Here are the facts of the case. JonBenét's mother enrolled her in many beauty pageants, which she actually won the titles of America Royale Miss, Little Miss Charlotte, Little Miss Colorado, Colorado State All-Star Kids Cover Girl, and many more. Her dad was skeptical of her being in the pageants because he knew that there is tons of weirdos in this world and he didn't want his daughter to be a victim.
What if we inadvertently exposed her to the killer?
A good parent, be a little more aware than we were that not everyone around you is a nice, good person.
Which is also very interesting because her dad is the one who discovered her body. Let's get into that later. It was a snowy night in Boulder, Colorado on December 25th. Most people are celebrating Christmas while the Ramsey family was distraught over the disappearance of JonBenét. On the early morning of December 26th, Patsy realized that her daughter was missing. And in the place of her daughter was this ransom note. The weird part about this ransom note is that this ransom note was 2.5 pages long. Like, who makes a 2.5 page ransom letter? I don't know, but I'm gonna read you this ransom letter and you guys can give me your opinion. Mr. Ramsey, listen carefully. We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. We respect your business, but not the country that it serves. At this time, we have your daughter in our possession. She is safe and unharmed, and if you want her to see 1997, you must follow our instructions. You will withdraw $118,000 from your account. $100,000 will be in $100 bills, and the remaining $18,000 in $20 bills. Make sure that you bring an adequate size attaché. When you get home, you will put the money in a brown paper bag. I will call you between 8 and 10 a.m. tomorrow to instruct you on delivery. The delivery will be exhausting, so I advise you to be rested. If we monitor you getting the money early, we might call you early to arrange an earlier delivery of the money and hence an earlier pickup of your daughter. So I just want you guys to remember one thing. Remember the word hence, okay? Because we're gonna come back to that word very shortly after I read this full letter. Any deviation of my instructions will result in the immediate execution of your daughter. You will also be denied her remains for proper burial. The two gentlemen watching over your daughter do not particularly like you, so I advise you not to provoke them. Speaking to anyone about your situation, such as police, FBI, etc., will result in your daughter being beheaded. If we catch you talking to a stray dog, she dies. If you alert bank authorities, she dies. If the money is in any way marked or tampered with, she dies. Using the word she dies, which makes me think, was this note written after JonBenét died? This is where it gets confusing. So there was a movie called Dirty Harry, and it was with Clint Eastwood. And in this movie, daughter gets kidnapped. And on the phone, the person who is asking for the ransom constantly says, she dies, she dies, she dies. And in the movie, the daughter was already dead when this ransom was trying to be taking place. It kind of correlates with each other, but let's keep reading the letter. You know, I don't want to jump too far ahead. I don't want to choose sides. I want you guys to choose sides. I'm just spitting the facts that I know. Follow our instructions and you stand 100% chance of getting her back. You and your family are under constant scrutiny as well as the authorities. Don't try to grow a brain, John. You are not the only fat cat around, so don't think that killing will be difficult. Don't underestimate us, John. Use the good Southern common sense of yours. It is up to you now, John. So now let's talk about this. At the beginning of the letter, they were referring to John as Mr. Ramsey. Why the sudden change? They say they're part of a foreign faction, but none of this really reads foreign. If it was foreign, they would have referred to John constantly as Mr. Ramsey. They talk about beheading, which is a foreign tactic of murder. I feel like it's just kind of placed in there. And that's kind of what the theories feel too, is that it was just placed in there to try to play along with the scene. Another really weird part about this ransom letter is they asked for $118,000. That's very odd, right? If you were kidnapping someone, why $118,000? A really weird coincidence about this case actually is that later that month, John, the father, was actually rewarded a holiday advancement of $118,000. So, was he trying to double dip? Was he trying to get this 118 and then get another one at the advancement? I don't really know. All I'm saying is that that's a really weird coincidence. Okay, remember when I told you guys to remember the word hence? Well, this is where we're gonna go back to it. How many times have you heard the word hence? Right? I've heard it before in my life, but you don't hear it very often. So if someone uses that word often, it's going to come across a lot in their work. There was a letter that was found written by the Ramsey family to the church, and this is what it said. Had there been no birth of Christ, there would be no hope of eternal life, and hence no hope of ever being with our loved ones again. So the word hence is already used again. What are the odds that the ransom note says hence and a note from the family directly to the church says hence? How many people do you hear say hence on the daily? That's all I'm going to say about that. Let's keep moving on. So in this ransom letter, it clearly says, do not tell anyone. Do not call anyone. Just get the money and bring it back to me, which is understandable because they don't want to get caught, if there is actually anybody. Because immediately after, there was 2 phone calls made. One to the police.
What's going on there, ma'am? We have a kidnapping. Hurry, please. Explain to me what's going on, okay? There's a note left in our coffee gone.
And one to Patsy's friend. We don't know who this friend is. We don't know why she was called. But immediately, she broke the rules that the ransom note said, which ultimately was going to lead to a 99% chance of her daughter being killed. Did she make these calls because she already knew that the daughter was dead? Did she make these calls because she didn't care about her daughter's life? Or did she make these calls because she didn't know what else to do? Anyways, Patsy decided to call the police, and within 3 minutes they were at her door. Officer Rick French was one of the officers who responded to the call, and he did a thorough search of the house. When he walked downstairs to go to the basement where the body of JonBenét was actually found, there was a wooden latch door, and he decided to not open this latch door. So JonBenét is still not found. No one knows that she is murdered. All they found was this locked door that they decided not to break open and go into. But if they would have gone in there, they would have found JonBenét's body. We think, because we don't know. We're skepticals here. We don't really know what could have happened if the door was open. So the police end up leaving that door shut. They go back upstairs. They said they can't find anything. At 1:00 p.m., the detectives ordered a second search of the Ramsey family home. This time they were accompanied by John, the father of JonBenét, and they went down to that wooden latch room, opened the door, and what they found was horrendous. JonBenét's lifeless 6-year-old body laying there, covered by nothing but a white sheet, her hands and neck tied together by nylon cord, duct tape on her mouth, and stun gun wounds on her body. John made the critical mistake to go and grab his daughter's body and carry her up to the living room, ultimately destroying all forms of evidence that could have been linked to the murder of his daughter. He just wiped all the prints by putting his own prints on there. Which makes me think, did he do this because he knew that the prints were his and now he's just covering them up? Did he do this because he just wasn't thinking and he wanted to hold his daughter one last time?
When I found her, it was a rush of relief. And then, of course, within moments, I realized that she probably was dead. But she was back in my arms.
Maybe he wanted to just feel his daughter in his arms one more time. I have to give him the benefit of the doubt. But what he did was very dumb, very stupid, and it has led to an over 20-year search for the murderer of his daughter. So let's talk about the autopsy. What exactly happened to JonBenét? How did she exactly die? These questions are building up inside me, and now I'm super curious, which I bet you guys are super curious as well. So the rule of death was asphyxia, or also known as strangulation, which means she died from that nylon cord that was wrapped around her neck. But another interesting fact about this case is later in the autopsy, they found out that she actually suffered a major head trauma. So she was hit over the head with something that actually fractured her skull. The items that they found in the basement were a flashlight, a golf club, and a baseball bat. Could have been any of these objects, but what could have happened in the moments where she was hit over the head and then choked to death? Because they said that the head injury did not kill JonBenét. It was the strangulation that ultimately ended her short life. Also during the autopsy, they found a fruit or a pineapple substance in JonBenét's body. But the parents do not recall giving JonBenét any sort of pineapple. So how did she have it in her stomach at the time of her death? Well, the parents actually took a photo of JonBenét's brother, Burke, a bowl of pineapples earlier that day. So now we finally hear about her brother. Like, where has her brother been this whole time? I'm curious. Well, supposedly from the parents, the brother was asleep during this whole incident and woke up hours later from the police being there. So the brother could have no tie to this because the brother was sleeping, right? Yeah, he can't be involved. He was sleeping unless he did this while he was sleeping. So the brother, automatically, let's not think about him, okay? Let's just get him out of the equation. So far, it's got to be the parents, right? Who else could have done this? But there are two theories, okay? Right now, I'm confused. Right now, I'm leaning towards the side of the family did this. But it gets more interesting. Believe it or not, right? So there's a theory that someone broke into the Ramsey home through the broken basement window. This is something they didn't initially report, that there was a broken basement window. So did someone break in there, lure her down, kill her? I don't know. Maybe it could have happened, you know what I mean? It's unsolved. I'm not a detective. I can't solve it myself. Maybe you guys can help solve this murder. The intruders subdued JonBenét using a stun gun and took her down to the basement. JonBenét was killed and a ransom note was left. Why do you need a stun gun for a 6-year-old? I want to know how the relationship was with the parents and JonBenét. Was there any sort of child abuse that went on? Because no grown human being is going to use a stun gun on a 6-year-old. Like, I'm pretty sure you can control a 6-year-old on your own. You don't need a stun gun, which makes me think, like, was the stun gun an accident? Maybe the brother shot her with the stun gun. But we can't talk about the brother because the brother was sleeping, you know? Like, we can't just bring him into a crime scene that he wasn't involved in because he was sleeping. Or can we? Let's keep talking. So now let's talk about the two different theories, okay? This is the most interesting part to me, is because now this is the only thing that will make you believe that the parents didn't do it, okay? This theory right here. So supposedly it wasn't documented in the actual discovery of everything, but there was a broken window in the basement. Could that have been where an intruder broke in? Maybe. There was also 100 burglaries that were reported in the neighborhood of the Ramsey family home. Okay, burglaries, murder, like they're two different things, like they shouldn't be tied together. Well, there was also 38 registered sex offenders in the area, a 3-kilometer radius from the Ramsey family home. Well, now that's interesting, right? JonBenét was an American child beauty queen, okay? They were describing her as a sexual offender's dream. Disgusting, right? Absolutely horrifying. But there was 38 living in her neighborhood. Why did they think they should live there? I don't understand. They were registered sex offenders that were clearly announced that they lived there, and the family was fine living next to these sexual offenders. Why? I don't know. Especially having your daughter be in the public eye and being this dream of a sexual offender, I would have moved right out of there. But that's just me, right? I don't know. What would you guys do in the situation? Now, here's the other theory, the family theory, okay? From the police perspective, they did not see any evidence of forced entry. So this broken window theory, where did this come from? I don't know. Like, this is what I'm talking about. It wasn't reported to the police, so where did this broken window come from? Suddenly it's there. The only reason that I'm sort of believing the theory of Smith was because that broken window. If it really was there, then I can understand that someone maybe broke in and it wasn't the family. But the police never reported it, so let's get back to this. They saw evidence of a staging like a ransom note and did not find the Ramsey cooperative in helping them solve the death of their daughter. Okay, so the police have reported that the Ramsey family were not cooperative in helping find the killers. Now I'm thinking, why would they want to help solve the murder that they staged? It doesn't make sense. And that's where I'm leaning back to this theory, this crime scene, this murder, this unsolved murder. It's so confusing on so many levels, because you think one thing and then something else proves you wrong. And then you think another thing and then you got something else up here. Here's another theory, okay, is that maybe Patsy got mad at her daughter and hit her, right? Hit her with something, broke her skull, and was then worried, like, oh no, I did not just do this. And Patsy, thinking that her daughter was almost dead, used this cord to strangle her daughter to make it look staged. And that's where we go back to this ransom note. I'm gonna pop up a couple different ransom notes on the screen. They're all very short and simple and get straight to the chase. This ransom note was written on 3 separate pages. It just feels like something isn't right here, because if you're trying to get money from someone, it's basically like, hey, I have your daughter, give me $100,000 and you can have her back. Meet me here, call me there, whatever. It's not this whole thing about blah, 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 da-da-da-da-da, dee-dee-dee-dee. It just doesn't make sense, you know? That's why I'm leaning towards the family, but let's keep going with this, okay? As time goes on, right, we still haven't solved this murder, but time goes on and new technology is made to help solve these old murders, and they actually use this new technology to go to these old murders and help try to figure them out now. So in 1998, the district attorney ordered that the samples in DNA be retested because they have new technology and they want to figure this out. So they tested the evidence, and what they found was now very alarming and makes you think, maybe the family didn't do it. What they found was a third person's DNA. They can't identify this person because it was not in the DNA system at all, and there's 1.6 million people in this DNA system. But this person, whoever murdered JonBenét, was not in the system. Whose DNA was in JonBenét's underwear, and why was it in JonBenét's underwear? They also say that JonBenét's area down there was wiped clean and there was no trace of any sort of semen or anything inside of JonBenét, which raises the question then, whose DNA was on her underwear? How did it get there? Was it just the person at Walmart that they sold the underwear to? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. How did this get there? I don't know. So now we fast forward to 2003. The Ramsey family gives CBS permission to talk about this crime on TV. It becomes even more nationwide now because now everyone is curious on what happened to JonBenét. Well, in this crime show, CBS named Burke, JonBenét's brother, as the murderer. Supposedly they had analysts that analyzed everything and just traced Burke back to the murder. Well, the Ramsey family didn't like this. They clearly knew that Burke was innocent. You know, he was sleeping during the time. There's no way he could have done this. So they sued CBS for an unenclosed amount. We don't know how much they sued for, but it was probably a lot of money. So now this case is only getting bigger and bigger. The whole world is wondering what happened to JonBenét. There's tons of information about this case because everyone wants to know, how does a 6-year-old just end up dead in the family home's basement? It raises a lot of questions. So all of America is trying to figure this out. Everyone wants to know what happened to JonBenét. So now we fast forward to 2008. This is where something happens that shocks the whole world, okay? Because now there's only one choice. So basically in 2008, the public defender publicly exonerated the Ramsey family. If you don't know what this means, it's basically saying the Ramsey family didn't do this because of the DNA found. They did not do this. You cannot say they ever did this again. And if you ever say the Ramsey family did this again, you will be sued. You will be sued for slander. You will be sued for libel. You'll be sued for everything you have. So now that this information comes out, you can't say that the Ramsey family did this. Even if you think it, it's gone because of the third-party evidence that was found in her underwear. Now this automatically means the Ramsey family is innocent. Even if they aren't, you cannot say that they did this crime, which now put all of America in one bubble. That second theory that someone had to have broken in to commit this crime. It doesn't make sense. Recently, like 15 years later, Burke Ramsey finally speaks about the situation. Burke Ramsey has never said a single thing. He's never said anything. The family always insisted that he was asleep at the time. He never knew anything. All that. They always said that there was someone that broke in and killed the daughter, JonBenét. Well, finally, 15 years later, Burke Ramsey does an interview, okay? And the interview clips are very, very interesting. He's smiling throughout the whole thing.
Did you hit your sister over the head with a baseball bat or a flashlight?
Absolutely not.
Is it a smile? Like, people like to judge. Is it a smile or is it an uncomfortable thing to be talking about your sister's murder, you possibly being tied to it? Like, it's gotta be uncomfortable. Maybe that's his uncomfortable face. I don't know. It looks like a smile to me, but you know, people do weird things in situations. On the interview with Dr. Phil, he continues to claim his innocence. He says that a pedophile broke into his house and killed his little sister.
Do you have any knowledge of who did murder your sister, JonBenét?
I've kind of always just thought it was like a pedophile who saw her at one of the pageants and snuck in and...
This is the story that he is sticking to, so we have to just give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't know, I'm skeptical. Like the whole pineapple thing, you know what I mean? Like he was obviously giving her pineapple, so he was hanging out with her 4 hours prior to the murder. Like what happened in that time? Do you fall asleep within 4 hours? I don't know. It's a true case that is clearly unsolved, and I want to know your guys' thoughts on it, okay? Did the intruder sexually molest the daughter? Did the brother do it? Did the family do it? Like I said, I don't know. There's so many questions about this case that just make me think like, how did this just like not get solved? How was there not a single fingerprint anywhere? How was there nothing that could tie the family to the murder? I know that the father picked up the daughter and brought her to the living room, but how was there nothing? Like, did the family touch the whole body? How was there nothing? I don't know. That's Freaky Friday for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what your thoughts are. Who do you think murdered JonBenét Ramsey? How do you think they got away with it? I don't know. These are the questions that really interest me. This is the shit that makes me think like, holy crap, I could die tomorrow and no one could like ever know how I died, and the person could just get away. If you haven't already gotten some of the merch and you're just so over it, make sure you pick some up at BrennenTaylor.com. I'll see you guys next time I post, which will probably be another day where I'll do something else that's crazy, but I'm gonna stick to these day things and do strict strategic videos because that's what you guys deserve. So until next time, stay safe, don't get murdered because sometimes they just don't find your murderer, so stay alive. Love you guys, be safe, peace. Hey Hey guys, hey guys, hey everybody, hey everyone, hey guys, hello everyone, hey everybody. Make sure you guys check out yesterday's video, and also make sure you hit that subscribe button right now and turn on post notifications so you never miss a post. Follow me on my other social medias, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.